Now it's my pleasure really to introduce someone that puts all of this in perspective about the work that you as researchers do every single day. And that's Valen Keefer. Valen is a patient advocate, and she's here today to help share her story about why the work you do as researchers is so important for patients like her. So Valen, if we've got you on camera, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Andrew. It is an honor to be here with all of you today.
Well, it's great to see you, and would love for you to tell the pharma group here just a little bit about yourself, where are you coming from, and would love to really know your journey as a patient.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Valen Keefer. I live in Auburn, California. I've been a patient pretty much my entire life. It started when I was 5 years old and had my first seizure, and I still have epilepsy to this day. I have severe scoliosis and have 2 Harrington rods down my back and had that surgery when I was in middle school. And at 10 years old, I was diagnosed with polycystic kidney disease, one of the most common life-threatening genetic diseases. I inherited it from my mother's side of the family. She has it and is alive today at 65, but everyone else in our family passed away before the age of 53. So this disease has had a devastating impact on our family. I'm actually the first to be transplanted in our family and the youngest to endure such severe side effects from it. So I was in and out of the hospital a lot during middle school and high school, and I wound up spending a year in the hospital when I was 18 and 19, where the cysts on my kidneys wouldn't stop bleeding. So I had a double nephrectomy, was put on daily dialysis because of all the toxins. And about after 8 months of dialysis and many other health complications while in the hospital, I was fortunate to receive a kidney transplant from a living donor. I had that when I was 19, and I still have that same kidney to this day, and I'm doing great, which is amazing. I did well for many years, but then in the fall of 2016, I got really sick again, and it wound up that PKD affected my liver, and I needed a life-saving liver transplant. And my family and I were pretty devastated. We thought, okay, I kind of went through PKD, had both kidneys removed, transplant, and was hopefully put a lot of that behind me. But I'm super grateful to share that right now, this summer, I'll be celebrating 19 years post-kidney transplant, 3 years post-liver transplant. Honestly, I'm like bursting with gratitude every day because I know that I'm so lucky to still be alive. And it's because of the miracle of modern medicine and pharmaceuticals I've been taking my entire life. And I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for research and development and the 20-some pills I take each day so my body doesn't reject the organs that I have. So I have such appreciation for all of the work that you do.
Wow. Valen, thank you so much for sharing your story. It's really incredible what you've gone through. And, to fight any disease requires both resiliency and also perseverance. And I'm just curious, where have you really gotten your resilience and perseverance from?
I feel like it's a combination of several things, that all equal components. I feel like just me personally, I'm an optimistic person, and I feel fortunate to have that positivity in me. I feel like I just have this yearning to live a fulfilling life and have a zest for life, and that fight in me to get through all that I've gone through. But I've been fortunate to be surrounded by an incredible circle of support and caregivers of my parents and now my husband. And that has been huge to get me through everything. I also feel like it takes work. It takes a lot to navigate transplants and all of these health issues, but I look at it as an honor and a blessing because I'm still alive today. So I think perspective is huge too with my resilience, is how I look at my health challenges, and I've never been bitter about them. I've always just been focused on getting better and just wanting to live and live the most fulfilling life. And also my passion of being a patient advocate, I think, is a huge component to my well-being. I've been an advocate for over 17 years, sharing my story, striving to be the role model I wish I had when I was younger. And that purpose every day of waking up and knowing I'm here for a reason and turning all my challenges into something meaningful is just so therapeutic. And I think all of that combined together just really helps me live a strong, fulfilling life and to continue to fight through all that I've been through and anything to come in the future.
That's absolutely amazing. And thank you for sharing that. We're thinking about and talking about research and development here today. And I'm just curious, what does continued R&D mean to you personally? I mean, you just talked about you take 20 pills every single day and you've gone through these transplants and these really momentous occasions in your healthcare journey. So what does continued R&D mean to you personally and for other patients like yourself who might be impacted by similar conditions?
Andrew, it means everything. It is hope, and hope is so powerful. And I've learned that throughout all the chapters in my journey. You think about how I've been on medicine for my seizures since a child, all that I had to navigate with those long hospital stays, and then the anti-rejection medicine that I take today. And when I think of my family history, I lost my grandmother before I was born. And I think to myself, if I would have lived in that era that she did, I wouldn't have lived to 38 years old like I am today. There wouldn't have been enough time for the research and development to happen in order to be able to have the background, to be able to get the transplants and the medicine that we currently have so people can live longer and fulfilling lives. I think of the aspect of when I was diagnosed at 10 years old, I was told there's no treatment and no cure for polycystic kidney disease. And that is awful to hear. It is awful for a mother to sit there and hear that diagnosis of their child. So research and development, now there's the first treatment for polycystic kidney disease was released several years ago. Nobody has to hear that again, being diagnosed with PKD. Now they can be told there's a treatment. And I surely hope that as time goes on, there will be more treatments and that someday, if somebody's diagnosed with PKD, they can be told that there's a cure for it. And that would just be extraordinary. And to me, it's not just even treatments and cures, it's better options. Because for me, my survival depends on the medicine that I take. I will need to take this medicine for the rest of my life. And I'm on blood pressure medicine, epilepsy, the immunosuppressant. So even better options I look forward to too, because everybody responds differently to medicine. So maybe in the future, there'll be a better option of a immunosuppressant that is healthier long-term. So for me, I'm just striving to live the longest and healthiest life I can. And I have that hope because of research and development.
Well, and that continued innovation, I think, is so critical and really, taking the lessons we learn maybe from one approval onto the next, but also the setbacks. Research is inherently incredibly challenging. Most products never even make it past a phase 1 clinical trial. So the scientific perseverance, I think, is absolutely critical. Knowing that most of the researchers on today's training are working to crack the code on some of our most complex challenges in science, I'm curious, what would you want them to convey when speaking tomorrow with policymakers?
Well, I think we all, of course, on this call appreciate the importance of research and innovation, and that's going to be discussed tomorrow. But for me as a patient, I think it's so important to convey the long-term cost of not innovating, to share how this personally impacts people. And that's the core of this, is the humans, how we're impacting and changing people's lives. I think that needs to be discussed. And I often think, of course, we all appreciate it because of being researchers and me as a patient. But if there's someone out there that has never gone through any health issues, it's hard for them to step in our shoes. So tomorrow, I think it's so important to find a way to personally connect with the policymakers, to get them to understand and appreciate maybe so far in their lives how medical innovation has helped them, or how it could potentially help them in the future or their children, and for them really to connect personally. And I think that's really going to help them get on board and appreciate how transformative pharmaceutical innovation is.
Well, and you talked about, the personal story and, not to put you on the spot here, but what is the personal message that maybe you want to share to those researchers that are doing, biopharmaceutical R&D every day?
Well, I wholeheartedly believe in science. I'm alive today because of it. My life has been doubled. That's just amazing to just like pause and think about that. I almost died at 18, 19 years old. I'm 38. I'm the healthiest I've ever been, thanks to transplantation. And I just can't express enough my gratitude because it is people like the researchers on the call today that dedicate their lives to this, that are helping improve lives like myself and for future generations of people living with PKD and other health issues. And I just really want them to know how appreciated they are and how important their work is and how there's so many of us that appreciate and are grateful. I'm just one of the countless. And it really is the hope that patients rely on when we're diagnosed with new issues, when we're in the hospital and we're wondering what treatment is best for us. We get diagnosed with an issue and right away it's like, okay, well, how can we fix it? How can we get better so we can live a longer, healthier lives with our families? It is that research, development, pharmaceutical, all of that innovation that we're relying on. And I just can't express enough how grateful I am to be able to share my appreciation to all of you, to be alive and to be here today, which is just extraordinary.
Well, Valen, thank you so much for sharing your story. I do understand you have a website that talks about really your personal story, even in more detail. So real quick, do you want to give that a plug as well?
Thank you. I appreciate that, Andrew. Yes, if you're interested in learning more about my medical journey and advocacy efforts, and like to connect with me, you're welcome to check out my website. It's valenkeefer.com, which is just my first and last name, like the beginning of Valentine, ValenKeefer. And thank you so much, Andrew, and everyone for this opportunity.
Well, Valen, it's really our pleasure. And thank you for sharing your personal story. It's stories like yours that inspire me, but also all of the researchers that are participating in this important event tomorrow. So thank you so much.
Thank you.